Hi friends, today I am going to discuss about the topic operating costing. We have already discussed about costing, the methods of costing and different techniques of costing. What do you mean by costing? Costing means a technique or process of ascertaining the cost. Different types of methods of costing are used by cost accountants. The different methods of costing are operating costing, process costing, job costing, contract costing. All these costing techniques, methods are mainly used for ascertaining the cost. Today we are mainly focused to study operating costing, one of the important methods of costing. So first of all we can see the meaning of operating cost. What do you mean by operating cost? It is the cost of providing services. So operating cost and operating costing are different. Operating cost means the cost of providing services. Next, what is the meaning of operating costing? Operating costing means methods of costing mainly used for ascertaining the operating cost of an organization. Operating costing is one of the method of costing mainly used by those organizations which are rendering services rather than production of goods. Therefore, operating costing is also known as service costing. Okay, next we can see one of the definition of operating costing. According to Weldon, operating costing is a unit costing as applied to the costing of services. That means operating costing is just like unit costing, mainly used for ascertaining the cost of services. Different organizations mainly used operating costing methods are transport organization, hospitals, hotels and all other service oriented organizations are using operating costing methods for ascertaining their operating cost. Next we can see different features of operating costing. One of the main feature of operating cost is operating costing method is a method of costing mainly for ascertaining the operating cost of an organization. Another feature is operating costing is mainly used by service organization for ascertaining the cost of their services. In the case of operating costing, costs are mainly divided into two categories, fixed cost and variable cost. Another important feature of operating costing is in the method of operating costing, two type of cost units are used, simple cost unit and composite cost units. In the case of service costing, mainly two type of cost units are used, simple cost unit and composite cost unit. All these different types of cost units are discussed later. Okay. Another important feature of operating costing is the operating cost of a service is determined or ascertained through the preparation of operating cost sheet. The last important feature of operating costing is operating cost of a unit. A cost per unit is calculated by dividing the total operating cost of an organization or total operating cost of a services by total number of cost units. Next, we can see what do you mean by operating cost unit. Cost unit is the unit of quantity in terms of which costs are ascertained and expressed. Cost units are mainly divided into two categories, simple cost unit and composite cost unit. In simple cost unit, only one cost is used for measuring operating cost. Examples are cost per kilometer, cost per kilogram, cost per passenger. All these are simple cost unit. But in case of composite cost unit, more than one cost unit is used for ascertaining the cost or measuring the cost. Examples of composite cost are passenger kilometer, ton kilometer, etc. Here we use two cost units like per passenger per kilometer, like per ton per kilometer. So it is known as composite cost unit. In normal case, so in service costing, normally we use simple cost unit and composite cost unit. Based on the situations, we can use simple cost unit or composite cost unit. Okay. Next, we are moving to another session, transport costing. Different service sector undertakings are using operating costing methods for ascertaining their cost. The different sectors using operating costing methods are transport undertakings, hospitals, hotels, educational institutions, etc. Today mainly we are focusing on transport costing. The transport companies follow operating costing methods to ascertain the cost of carrying passenger or goods. So, the method of costing used by transport companies are known as transport costing. It is just like operating costing. So, transport costing means the costing methods adopted by transport companies in order to ascertain the cost of transportation is known as transport costing. Next, we are mainly focused to know what are the procedures of transport costing. The main four procedures of transport costing. First one is collection of transport cost. Collection of transport cost means collect all those costs which are related to running the organization or running the vehicle. The examples are costs like license fee, tax and insurance of vehicle, wages to driver, fuel expenses. All the expenses which are related to transport companies are pooled together. That is the main function of main procedure of collection of transport cost. So, we focus on classification of transport costs. The transport costs are mainly classified into three categories: fixed operating cost or standing cost, then maintenance cost, maintenance charge, and third one is running charges or operating charges. What do you mean by fixed operating charges? Fixed operating charges means those costs which are fixed in nature, those costs which are not related to running of a machine or running of a vehicle. Those costs are known as fixed operating charges or standing charges. Examples are license fee, tax, depreciation for a period. All these are comes under fixed operating cost. Another one is maintenance charge. Those costs which are related to maintaining the vehicles in a running condition, that is known as maintenance charge. Examples are maintenance expenses, repairs expenses, all these costs which are mainly related to maintaining the vehicles in a running condition. Those costs are known as maintenance charges. Next one is running charges or operating charges. Running charges or operating charges means those expenses are incurred for running or operating the vehicle. For example, oil, petrol, all these day-to-day expenses are mainly related to running charges or operating charges. So, running charges means those charges which are variable in nature. So, these are the main classification of transport cost. Fixed cost, it is also known as standing charges and maintenance charges, and third one is running charges or operating charges. Sometimes we also classify the total transport cost into two categories, that is fixed charges or variable charges for the preparation of cost sheet. The next procedure of transport costing is determination of cost unit. We have already discussed about what do you mean by cost unit. There are two types of cost units, simple cost unit and a composite cost unit. The selection of cost unit is mainly depends upon the type of vehicle. In case of taxi car, we use simple cost unit for measuring cost, that is cost is calculated per kilometer. But in case of normal ordinary bus services, we use composite cost for ascertaining or measuring the cost. In case of composite cost unit, cost is calculated cost per passenger per kilometer. We use two cost units for measuring the cost. So, we use composite cost unit for measuring the cost. So, the selection of cost unit is mainly depends upon the type of vehicle. Next category of procedure of transport costing is preparation of cost sheet. Cost sheet is mainly used for ascertaining the total operating cost of an organization. It is a statement mainly prepared at the end of a period. The cost per operating cost is calculated by dividing the total operating cost by total number of cost unit. So, these are the main procedures of transport costing: collection of total operating cost or transport cost, and classification of cost into 3 or 2 categories, and determination of cost unit, and last one is preparation of cost sheet. Next, we are moving to discuss or work out a problem related to calculation of cost unit. Next, we can work out this problem. The question is, from the following, calculate total kilometer and total passenger kilometer. The informations are number of buses 6 and days operated in the month 25. Trips made by each bus is 20 kilometer one side, and the capacity of bus is 50 passengers. Normal passengers traveling 90% of capacity. First of all, we have to calculate total kilometer travelled. The equation for total kilometer travelled is equal to total number of buses, that is 6, into days operated in the month, the 25, multiplied with the trips made by each bus, 20 kilometer for one side. So, we have to multiply the 20 kilometer into 2, and these are the main information related to the total kilometer travelled. So, the total kilometer travelled is equal to total number of buses into days operated in the month and multiplied with the total trips made by each bus. The total distance travelled is equal to 24,000 kilometer. Okay. Next, we have to calculate total passenger kilometer. We have to multiply the total kilometer travelled into the total number of passengers. So, the total passenger kilometer is equal to total passenger kilometer is equal to total distance travelled, that is 24,000 multiplied with the total number of passengers. The capacity of bus is 50 passengers, that is 100% capacity is 50%, but we are only using 90% of capacity. So, the total number of passengers travelled is 50 into 90%. So, the total passenger kilometer is equal to 24,000 into 50 into 90%, that is equal to 10,80,000. 10,80,000 passenger kilometer. Passenger kilometer. Next topic is the methods of calculating passenger kilometer or ton kilometer. There are two methods are used for calculating passenger kilometer or ton kilometer. The two methods are absolute method and commercial method. First method is absolute method. How to calculate total ton kilometer? The equation for calculating total ton kilometer is equal to the total distance of each journey into total weightage. For calculating total passenger kilometer, the equation is equal to total distance of each journey into number of passengers. This is the absolute method. But in case of commercial method, the total ton kilometer is calculated by the total distance into average load. Here we multiply the average load with the total distance, and in case of total passenger kilometer, we have to multiply the total distance into average number of passengers. Next, we can work out a problem related to this topic. The question is, a lorry carries from station A to station C via station B. It returns directly from C to A. The distance from A to B is 60 km and from B to C is 50 km, C to A 80 km. And it carries 10 tons from A to B and 5 tons from B to C and 3 tons from C to A. We have to calculate absolute ton kilometer and commercial ton kilometer. These are the information taken from the question. First of all, we have to calculate total ton kilometer by using absolute method. So, absolute method. We have to calculate total ton kilometer. The equation for calculating the total ton kilometer in absolute method is the total distance of each journey into weight. So, each journey distance is multiplied with the weight. So, the total ton kilometer is equal to distance travelled from A to B is 60 km is multiplied with the total amount carried, that is 10 ton, plus B to C 50 km into 5 ton, and C to A is 80 km into 3 tons. The answer is 1090 km, ton kilometer. So, based on absolute method, the total ton kilometer is equal to 1090 ton kilometer. Next, we have to calculate total ton kilometer using commercial method. The equation for calculating total ton kilometer is equal to total distance into average load. So, first of all, we have to calculate total distance travelled. Total distance is equal to 60 km plus 50 km plus 80 km. The total distance is equal to 190 km. Next, we have to find out average load. So, average load is equal to 10 ton plus 5 ton plus 3 divided by 3. So, the average load is 6 ton. So, for calculating total ton kilometer using commercial method, the equation is total distance into average load. So, the answer is 190 into average load 6 is equal to 1140 ton kilometer. Okay.